Hey there, thank you so much for tuning into our podcast. But before I take you to your show, I have a very small request to make. Do check out the other episodes that we have created so far. And as you know, we are available on all major music and podcast streaming apps across the world. So, whichever podcasting platform you're listening to, do hit the follow button and leave us a rating, as that will help us improve our content and reach a wider audience. And with that, welcome to the show. Hello, everybody, people of the world, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, he, him, she, her, them, they, everybody who's existing on the planet. A very good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and whatever time you're listening to. Welcome back to this amazing podcast called Say That Again, Mate. And with me, as usual, I have. I'm just looking for adjectives, Priya. I just forgot what I thought for
You
you
are
today.
running out of it. So also you're I can completely understand, but yeah. Hello everybody. Hello there, mate. My matey is with me, so I don't need any kind of introduction. You saying my name is itself like please welcome Priyanka.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Really?
The
It's
bass in
just
your voice just makes it even more better. What do
okay,
you
so
say?
I'll tell you the reason for the bass. Okay. So I think over the past 1 week I hadn't had like good sleep or the required sleep. So Saturday night, which is yesterday. Sorry, so the guys who are listening to, we're recording it on a Sunday morning, my time, and Sunday night, Priya's time. So just to give you a backdrop. So entire week I didn't had like enough sleep. I felt so. So on Saturday, like yesterday night, after doing everything which was possible throughout the day, like I'll tell you, Priya, what happened.
Yes.
And when at night I went to the bed, I just put my phone on D&D, double checked that there's no alarm which is scheduled for Sunday morning, switched off all the internet things, and ensured that I'm sleeping my ass off. And you know what?
Wow.
At what time did I wake up? 7 o'clock. I was like, no, please, God, make me sleep some more hours. So I just, anyway, tried to be on the bed for another 1 hour. So
It's your
this hair,
circadian rhythm playing with you. Now that you have
exactly.
programmed yourself waking up 5 a.m. or I think 6 a.m. you wake up every morning.
No, 5:30, I'm off bed. 6 a.m., I'm at the gym every day.
I'm really sorry. Emphasized on 6 a.m. Guys, it's 5 a.m. My correction. Um,
No, so this heavy voice which is coming from, so this is because of the good sleep that I had, and I just had a hot cup of tea to warm
love it.
my neck, and there we are. And I hope my voice sounds like a night radio jockey.
Yes. After 10 p.m., Kabir is here with you guys.
Right. Hello, everybody. रात बाकी बात बाकी में आपका स्वागत है. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Absolutely, like buttery. You really, I really like that the way you say "Raat Baki, Baat Baki." It almost felt like I'm hearing radio station 94.3.
Should I apply for a radio jockey job? What do you think?
This can be a good alternative career option for you. Now that you have more than three, you can add this one.
I think my career is going down the hill, and my alternate career options are just flourishing.
Becoming, yes. I
The main
agree.
source of income, which actually helps me pay the bills. I'm not focusing on
Yes,
bettering that. I'm just focusing, okay, what if this is not there with me tomorrow? What should I do next? This is what is
correct.
life. This is what people do. They don't respect what they have. And with that, we enter a serious tone in this podcast. But no, won't do that. Won't do that. This is supposed to be a fun podcast and
How
with
was
fun.
your weekend started? How has your weekend
Exactly.
started? Hmm.
Exactly. I was about to tell you. It was a really like great day yesterday. So I'll tell you what. So the gym where I go train, I've made friends with two people there. And one of them is the owner of the gym and also the trainer. and the second one who has the best body in the gym. So I just pick my friends very, very carefully. Just in case any kind of trouble, make sure the gym owner is on your side. So, so these guys are so sweet. They invited me to go to a vineyard, which is very close from the city where I live.
Nice.
So it's like an hour's distance. So anyway, that was the plan for Saturday. Then, like 2 days back on Thursday, my trainer at the track, the coach with whom I train for running, he dropped a bomb saying that, KG, this Saturday, you run 18 kilometers. I'm sorry, I'm doing this accent.
Imitation game gone wrong, guys, but
Yeah. No, no
it was good
disrespect.
try.
No
Mm,
disrespect. But
yes,
yeah, he told you gotta run 18 kilometers on Saturday. And my God, I started sweating the moment he said 18 kilometers.
man.
So anyway, Friday night, rest of the world is enjoying their share of drink and partying. And I'm ensuring that I have enough, fiber in my food, enough carbohydrates to ensure that tomorrow morning when I get up, I'm extremely energetic and hydrated and everything so that I need to go and run. So yeah, Saturday morning, cutting it short, I went to the track, ran 18 kilometers. Straight from the track, went to the gym. Did some, I didn't do anything heavy yesterday on the gym because I knew 18 kilometers is draining. So you shouldn't be over pushing yourself. So I just did a few stretches and um, here and there to ensure that the body isn't sore in the later part of the day. After that, I came home, had a great breakfast, a heavy one, and tried to close my eyes for half an hour because at 1 p.m. we had to leave for the vineyard. And my God, Priya, when we went to the vineyard, it was so amazing. Such an amazing place. I just
Nice.
I just feel like I've been here for more than a year now, and how can I not know this place which is so close to my city and I haven't been there? Whereas I've, taken flights and been to some other part of Mexico altogether. This one place was so nice, happening and everything. I just loved that area. And the best part, the most funniest part, um I didn't record a lot of things, but when, like, so in vineyard what happens is, when you're there, you you basically go and try the different kinds of wines
Correct. Hmm.
that they are producing, basically, and look at the plantation, look at whatever the storage facilities and all of those things. So we were buying some wine for, obviously, for sitting and drinking, and if somebody wants to bring something home. So we were all like queued up to the counter and we were buying. And we took it, sat under a tree. So the setup was very cozy, like everybody sitting under a tree. There are some benches, some tables, some chairs. We were sitting right there, and like after maybe a drink, we just looked up, everybody, and I saw like it was 3:30 p.m. and ground, the entire ground was shaking as in people were not able to walk straight. I said, God damn
Oh,
it. This is just afternoon and people are just just what do you call that, drunk walking kind of. It looks
wine
like
was
people.
doing its magic on. I
It
can
was
see.
it was doing
Nice.
its magic, yeah. And it was so funny, so not funny, but so amazing to look at. I just enjoyed. I just thought it's way better than any nightclub that you go.
I love the consistency of yours. Apart from this, that you also plan your weekends, but the way you the way you observe things, it's just I really like the way you explain things. I can actually imagine some people, you know, imbalancing, and I can actually imagine you sitting under the tree and holding a bottle.
falling
And
falling over
yes,
each other, people, yeah. And it was so good that there was a setup where music was being played, so people were dancing and everything. It was just wonderful. And I think by sunset we started back home, but of course I went with a couple of bodybuilders and they are like, hungry most of the time. So they said, like, we want to eat. We want to eat. So they took me to one of the finest areas in this region where there's this Mexican food item called gorditas. So I already tried it. I knew about that food. I tried in that area only. So I had that again, and oh my God, the entire day's tiredness just went off the window.
Went away.
Yeah,
Yes.
I just wanted more and more. So I ate like what, five, six of them, and it's super. It's just amazing. So people listening to the podcast, if you don't know what gordita is, of course you won't be knowing it because it's a very traditional Mexican food. We can you can Google it. How would I explain it otherwise?
I think midway they must have, if people are listening to it carefully, they must have Googled it. Okay, what is it? Why is this man so emphasizing on this particular food item? Let's see.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's, um, in that it's said, so the locals around here, they say that in that area, even if you go to a normal stall and ask if they are a gordita vendors, if you go and ask them, that gordita is also going to be equally good as compared to when you go to a high-end restaurant and have it. They
Which is
both,
very rare. Which
which
is
is very
very
rare,
rare.
which is
Hmm.
very rare that like any level of restaurant, any class of restaurant, any place you go, the level or the taste or the quality of gordita is exactly the same in that entire region because they just don't mess with it. They just don't try anything else. It's the tradition, what the ancestors have been cooking. It just happens the way. And it's now one of the top three Mexican food items that I like in here.
Well, you had Mexican delicacy, and I had your city's
Of
delicacy. Is
course.
Litti Choka your, I mean, Ranchi's, like one of the,
One of the,
uh,
because see, Litti
yes.
Chokha basically originated in part of Bhilai, you can say. Sorry, Bihar, not Bhilai, Bihar.
Hmm. I
And
thought of correcting
initially,
you, but then, yes.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So Ranchi was a part of Bihar earlier, and then it got separated, became Jharkhand. But
Correct.
yeah, the thing where it comes from, so you'll get great Litti Chokha in Ranchi, in other parts of Bihar and Jharkhand also, because it's one of the most healthiest things that you eat. It's
Correct.
there's no oil involved, there's ghee used in it.
There's ghee used in it. Also, it's like barbecue kind of thing. The litti is barbecued
Yeah,
in a way. So if you want ghee, you can. So you are elaborating so much in about your, like, you had Mexican delicacy from this and that and vineyard.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
went to eat street vendors, very famous street vendor. Uh,
Okay.
he makes amazing litti choka, amazing. So my first target when we touched Bhilai, it was to eat litti choka from that particular place, and we had it, and it was raining. So me, Prakhar, my brother, and Soumya Didi, of course,
Mhm.
we were so happy after it. It was like we waited for this for so long, and we had it. So
Wow.
that feeling is same when you said that it was a week long, and it paid off well after having, what was the name?
Exactly. Gorditas.
Gorditas. Nice.
Gorditas. Gorditas. So yeah, I'm glad that you had great food this weekend.
Well,
And talking about weekend, this is Independence Day Eve where we are recording.
correct.
And
Correct.
Independence Day, not just any Independence Day, this is 75th Independence
Fifth.
Day. Oh my God. We are 75 years old, Priya. This country is
Man.
75 years old.
Just few hours away from like
Yeah.
15th August, the date. And this takes me back to the school days, when we used to wake up early. I used to wake up at 4 a.m. It will be surprising for you because I don't
Come
like
on, you're
waking up
lying.
early.
You are
Yes.
lying.
So the zeal is was I can still feel it because whenever it's either be 15th August or even 26th January, both these days I used to wait for like each year to come, and I was hoping this should not end because I knew after. I'll pass the school period, it will stop. In colleges, they don't have this, discipline where people coming up early to the, flag hosting ceremony and all. It loses a bit, but yet now that our respectable prime minister has asked us all to host flag in our own houses, and there are some
Yeah,
guidelines to make sure that the flag should be made of cotton, and the distance should be there, if even if there is another flag in your house, etc. So keeping all this in mind, my mother has actually executed such a thing, and I'm very proud of her. And today
wow,
only I saw the flag was waving so much, even it's raining heavily in Bilai. So, it reminded me of that poem where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, when
oh,
knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. So the waving flag reminded me of those lines from Rabindranath Tagore, whose vision was, I mean, it's now 75th. That's why it's giving so much, push to all of us to
exactly.
do such a thing. But each year I feel the same whenever,
No, of course,
yes,
it's just like an anniversary, right? Every anniversary feels like something, but when it's 25th or 50th or 75th, it just adds to the what do you call it?
to the Z, to
Yeah,
the,
it just adds to
yes.
the energy. It just makes
Hmm.
things more special, and it's just like that. So even in my house, I'll tell you, back in Ranchi, so we have two houses right in front of each other. So
Hmm.
my father brought two flags, and so both of it was hosted in each of the houses. So now my uncle who lives right in front and my father was hosting in the first floor of the house, not on the top on the terrace. So my uncle was like, "Don't you know the rules? We have to host it on the top." Hey, there
Oh.
was a discussion happening for the flag. I felt so proud that okay, people are fighting over flags now. This is what it should happen. So
Also,
now, yeah.
do you have any such stories where, like, after partition stories? Because I have one of our acquaintances
Hmm.
who is now not with us. He passed away a few years back, and he used to tell these small details about how, they packed their bags from Pakistan and then they flew back to India, how they managed to live in Lajpat Nagar and then set up their business, and then spreading it. And the him as a child, he must have seen his father struggling so much just for the that particular day's food. So every detail of his used to amaze me and Saumati so much that we used to listen to each detail as if we are in that era. We needed to know what clothes they were wearing, how much money they were left with, and they must have left their some of their, like one story I heard that while running away, they were hastily catching the train. So the man thought that my mother's only earring, only gold earring, he knew it's there in the house. He just wanted to grab that because he knew he might survive or not, but he
Yeah,
knew this house might not come back. He
yeah.
cannot he cannot be there anymore. So he just carried that particular thing in his pocket. So that question, which in any interview, people ask that what one thing will you carry when your house is getting burned or
Mm-hmm.
something like that,
Mm.
I think he has an answer. This guy has an answer. He
Exactly.
actually so
See,
I
Priya,
love,
just listening to stories won't, make us feel actually what they went through. It's
of
just
course,
horrific. It's so, just imagine in today's world, if you're asked to pack your bags and leave your country, and there are no means. you don't get a reservation, you don't get a booking or anything. You just have to collect your things and leave right now within 24 hours or something. It will become it's worse than a pandemic or anything. It's just so at that time, um, when this pre-partition movement which was happening, it it also just saddens me by just thinking that so many um, because of the partition, so many good things that we had as a collective nation just went across the borders. Like that, a lot of traditions with respect to food which came from Pakistan to India, something went from India to
Yes.
Pakistan. The artists who
Hmm.
could be a part of a larger India. Some of them stayed here, some of them went to the other side. So not just the families getting separated, but also, these things, the cultural differences that occurred after the partition. It just saddens me. I remember my grandfather, as in my maternal grandfather, my Nanaji. He was a freedom fighter, and he was actually so in there's this very famous incident that happened in Patna during the freedom struggle, where right in front of the Patna Raj Bhavan, I guess, where the governor used to live, the British governor. They had this, uh, sorry, not the Raj Bhavan, actually the secretariat, where they used to work, right in front of the office of the governor. So they had this plan of hoisting the national flag and pulling down the Britain, that flag, East India, whatever the flag
Correct.
was at that time. So they did it, and there were fires, there were gunshots fired at them, and he got hit by one of the bullets, and I mean, those things happened. He went to the jail and everything. So when coming to today as well, when I used to sit with him and talk to him about those incidents, so he told so many amazing things which I don't think I can pull off today. With a 27, 28-year guy at that age, whose uh, like entire motivation was to free this country, and you cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. But every day he used to tell me that when he used to like leave his house, his mom used to just tell him that do come back.
At least be alive. Yes, correct.
Yeah, just come back. That is, that's the only thing. And while I'm talking to it, it's giving me goosebumps and chills.
Also,
So
the definition of harmony, which they elaborate, they focus upon the survivors who are alive right now, they always quote the definition of harmony was very different back then.
yeah.
Now it has changed and evolved because now we are, divided into like flat system. So we won't understand the deep emotional impact, of course. I
Yeah.
agree. And because their stories differ a lot, there is some soft hearted, still a soft heartedness for the people, living across the borders.
Hmm.
They know how much uh, the partition must have impacted to their life also, who
Yeah,
are
of
alive right
course.
now. Yeah.
Of course.
So it's just they might have forgiven but not forgotten. So I agree that, you know
And
the
I
if
think
you're
you are right. You're right. And this will be forgotten with the next generations. Like our forefathers might have suffered the plight of partition, but coming to our fathers, they might not know what happened. They just have heard stories. With us, we are like another level of
generation,
story
yes.
listening only. And maybe the next generation won't even know what partition was and what happened. The history books would be like so much, would be narrowing it down so much. I'm not sure how it's going to happen. But anyway, with the 75th anniversary of independence,
Correct.
75th independence of our country, the great nation. Um,
Now that we are traveling back to time, and
Yes.
knowing much about the survivors and everything, what all happened. Do you want to travel to moon anytime soon, KJ Bhaiya?
Why not? We have already discussed. I want to go to whatever place they're sending. I
Oh
mean, just
yes,
for
we
it.
have discussed this in with Soumya Di's podcast. Yes,
Yeah. Just
yes.
I would want to visit. I won't go and stay there. I want the comfort of
Oh,
having peace.
you have choices. I'm not gonna stay there.
Yeah. Just touch down and come back.
Okay, okay. So, yeah, Japan has planned to come up with an artificial space colony with bullet trains. So,
Bullet trains going to what? Moon?
which will connect Earth, Moon, and Mars.
Crazy.
So,
So
all those songs lines late in 1980s and even in early 2000. So, "Aao tumhe chand pe le jaun" was now coming to
making
reality,
sense.
guys.
It's making sense. They had that vision, Priya,
Very much. Yes.
before us.
They Yes. We were all pulling legs and Japan was actually doing the work. We were busy writing the lyrics, so I think that
And
worked.
just sorry. This topic is interesting. We'll come back to it, but a very interesting thing just hit my head. So we were just saying that okay, some people envisioned a song "Aao tumhe chand pe le jaye." Okay, that was just poetic thing. That was just a poetic thing. Come, I'll take you to the moon. It means I'll give you a great experience or whatever. I'll treat you like a princess or something like that. That was the
Hmm.
meaning of that thing. But today, if something like that is coming to reality, how often do we think that, okay, something that was said long back is coming true today? I'll tell you one thing. Before the scientists even discovered that the earth was round, in Hindu mythology, they say
Hmm.
bhugol. The meaning of bhugol. Bhu is dharti, which means the
Bhumi.
earth,
Hmm.
and gol is the structure,
Circle.
circular. So Earth was considered to be Bhugol like thousands of years prior to um, all of these things when the mythology was written and um, these things were practiced. Like the origination of the culture, the development of the culture was happening. The mythologies were actually scripted at that time. You say that, okay, the term Bhugol was coined. Another thing I recently got to know is okay, this entire solar system was mm, what discovered, let's say, whatever years back. You know how long is Kumbh Mela going on? Kumbh Mela, I'll tell you the relevance here. Why Kumbh Mela happens with a specific duration. So Saturn, the rings of Saturn, they have a particular duration of, revolving around the sun. So every time, like I think it's 11 years, once it completes its rotation around the sun. So every 11 years, Kumbh is organized. So this relevance was connected that back in Hindu mythology without any scientific evidence or those things. And this is what like boggles my head. Like, okay, people had all of these things already in their head. People knew a lot more things. It's just not studied that well today, I believe. It's just not studied and, scripted
Much
that well.
appreciated the way.
Yeah. So, no,
It was
for
thought.
us, if we want to read and learn about it, these things are fantastic. Not just us, people of any like any continent in the world would want to know these things because this makes complete sense and it's mind-boggling. You know, before the occurrence of scientific technologies and when different space agencies or whatever they declared that okay, um, our Earth is round and there are so many planets in the solar system and all of those. We knew it already.
Yeah,
Our
from
Rishi
the
Muni. Yeah,
invention of zero to actually calculating the number of years Saturn's ring
yeah, yeah.
um, revolves around the sun, and that theory behind the Kumbh Mela, which you just enlightened me with. It was not a medicine work, guys. It was actually someone uh, back then. Speaking of medicine, have you heard this very weird but such a breaking bad reference news?
Ooh.
Uh, yeah, Mumbai police nabbed a chemistry postgraduate who, after like holding a respectable job, he was actually having a degree in organic chemistry, and he misused it for the production of drugs and supplying them via supply the all these like social media platforms and calling apps, and the guy who the middleman who actually sell these
One
things.
second, one second. So
So
he was cooking drugs at his home and then selling it
yes,
in the
correct,
heart of Mumbai.
correct.
I like this guy.
Under the nose of Mumbai police is the main thing.
I know this guy. I like this guy.
So yes. So this
The
is something Breaking Bad reference
Heisenberg.
people wish.
Yeah, the
Yes.
Heisenberg of India. Hey,
One of your
have you
favorite.
watched Breaking Bad?
Yes, I knew it. You're gonna ask me because I remember you telling me the brief of this, the theory behind what all things happened in Breaking Bad. So one of your most loved series, I think. Breaking
It is.
Bad is one of. Yes,
It's not just mine, I'll tell you. Um, anywhere in the world, anywhere in the world you go, this is always like in the top three or top five of the best series made, like all-time best series ever made. Breaking
really,
Bad. Yeah. It's because of the acting, the story, the way they have hooked every episode. Like, I'll tell you my story of watching Breaking Bad when I started watching it during the pandemic, because of the lockdown and everything, you had nothing to do. So it was there in my list for very long, like my Netflix list. So unlike everybody, I think, like everybody, we have our list flooded, but we never go and revisit the list. That okay, I'm gonna watch this. No, we just look at the trailer and find it interesting and just add it to the list and never watch it. So with me, similar thing happened about Breaking Bad. Somebody told me about it and I just added to the list and it was there in my list for like more than 6 months. Then what happened? This pandemic thing occurred. We were all locked down and everything. We had nothing to do. The offices were also not very like harsh at that time. We didn't had a lot of work, so we had good amount of time. So what I started doing, I started watching this series, Breaking Bad. So I just watched like first two episodes, and I was like, no, it is very slow, and I don't know if I want to watch it more. So I discussed it with a friend. Like, I watched two episodes of Breaking Bad, and he told me, watch till episode five at least before you give
wow,
up. And I was like, okay, I'll try. So from episode two to episode five, it took me 4 days to reach there. And when I like finished episode five, it took me another 7 days to finish the entire, like whatever, four seasons they have, 4 or 5 seasons.
wow.
It was so brilliant, so brilliant. Like, I mean, of course, this is what art is about. This is what it has gone so many of Grammys as well, if I remember.
Yeah.
We are the
There might
excellent
have been
actor.
some reason, yes. That's why the friend of yours was,
Yeah.
uh, asking you to please
Usually,
patiently wait until fifth.
usually these series, they, start off a little
I
slowly,
agree.
but do remind me.
Similar with The Office also.
Yeah, yeah,
Some friends of mine, even including my sister, she said, please watch till episode 3 or 4. Then you'll get to know what is there in the series, why we all love it so much.
I
So I
know.
agree.
No, so just remind me before the end of the episode, we'll talk about some good stuff that is available to watch on Netflix or wherever. But coming back to the story from Mumbai, where this guy was cooking and supplying
Selling. Hmm.
stuff. Oh dear, I think he's got some courage to do that because, firstly, he's not just what, a mastermind. He's not just very intelligent to be able to do that, to be able to cook something of, I think he was cooking something called what, MD, which they call it
Correct.
mephedrone or something. Yeah.
Mephedrone, yes. Hmm.
Yeah, and oh wow, there's a nickname for it called Meow Meow.
Yes. What is this cute name you're giving to the drug? Why?
Wow.
What was the need to give it like we should give it a pet name also? No, it's not sounding so much pleasing to the ears. So we should call it meow meow. It'll sound cute.
What are
Why?
you
What was the
doing?
need to call it? It's not a music. Why are you doing this?
So, it also sounds, what do you call, cool when people ask, "What are you doing?" I'm just doing meow meow.
This I'm sorry. This is sounding very.
I know. That just went out the door. I'm so sorry.
Moving on.
Moving on.
So
Next topic, please. This
you
one.
know, there is
uh,
lately I discovered in the era of 1960s when guitarists from all around the world were coming up with their art form and everything.
mhm.
And of course, the drug involvement just started at that era.
Yeah.
So at that time, very famous guitarist and singer and writer Jimi Hendrix, he wrote a song called Purple Haze, and some people assume that Purple Haze is a reference to a major psychedelic trip he
Oh,
underwent after taking drugs. But of course, he denied because the lyrics were so that if you listen to it, you'll get to know. So he always denied the fact that he was on drugs while he wrote the song. And yeah, he was
wow.
really famous. And when I actually heard the song, the guitar verse on in that particular because of course I didn't relate to the lyrics much because of the obvious reasons, but yes, I can say why he was
See, I have,
the most.
yeah, I've heard this from a lot of people, like who, I mean, we do not endorse these things in any form, but these are just based on the stories that we have heard and listened on in different media platforms. Few people who say that, what is it that makes you do so much of drugs? And they say that it adds to the creativity of whatever they're doing, which I at times feel is um, not making sense. But yeah, because that guy is already an artist and he's already smoking some kind of things, and he's still getting, more and more hits with whatever song or uh, pieces that he's creating. So sometimes I start questioning myself, okay, what if he's actually right? He might be actually getting more creative, and this could be adding to. So there's always a neuroscience behind all of these things, how all of these products hit your brain, basically.
Yeah,
And
because he defended himself saying that he got a dream last night saying that he was caught in a under the sea and Jesus came helped him and how he was trapped with whales and etc and etc, and that's when he wrote the song. And it's just like few lines are there in that song, not much like 4 5 minute songs used to be there at that time, so it got much attention
yeah.
in people's eyes because they knew somewhere that he is lying about this thing. But because he was so famous and one of the most known guitarists at that time, interviews were going on, he might have said something which caught attention. So I recently came up to this thing via YouTube actually.
Hmm.
So I was pleased to know, oh, I know something from that era. Nice.
Yeah.
It was like I discovered Jimi Hendrix because of this.
That's good. That's really good. And you know what? These artists, like we all know so many things about Snoop Dogg, Wiz Khalifa, and
Yes.
those guys. Oh, like smoking on the stage. And because it's illegal, first of all,
Hmm.
is there. And I will have a separate episode about all of these things and how different kind of drugs um, goes through and works around in your head and all that. Priya, just for everybody to know, I have a guy who's done a lot of research on this, seen a lot of documentaries and those things. So hopefully we'll invite him someday if he accepts our
Yeah,
invitation.
it'll be interesting to know
Yeah,
the
and we
science
will.
which goes behind,
Yeah,
of course.
we'll talk around it, and we'll see where that goes, where that conversation goes. All right. Do we have anything else? Any other topics?
Well, I was just gonna ask you, have you heard any like Indian bands uh, which are like individually very famous, well known? Because
Oh,
I got to
or
know about the local train
the local
few
train. I
years
was
back.
about to tell you the local train
Yes,
and that song, "Aoge Tum Kabhi." I love that
yes,
song.
it was their very first song, I think, and it got
Yeah,
very much
and
attention.
not just local train. Uh,
The Yellow
this,
Diary is also
no,
one
no,
of
this
those.
band which sings Mairi.
Oh, Euphoria,
Euphoria. How can I forget them? These guys are so sweet, so sweet. I
correct.
think their main vocalist's name is Dr. Palash.
Palash. Hmm.
He's just such an amazing down to earth person. I recently they released a song, something, and I was just scrolling through Instagram, and his post came, and he was like saying that thank you for showering all the love for this song. As you guys know, we are not sponsored by anyone. We, I am a doctor, and I whatever money I save from that, I put it into music videos. These guys are famous from last
Oh,
20 25 years, but still they're working so hard to sponsor themselves and create, produce such videos and put it all over the internet. And internet is the only source, right, nowadays, because yeah, there are few TV channels who also show your music, like independent music, indie music, which we call.
correct.
Mostly the TV
MTV,
channel.
yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Mostly TV channels show the Bollywood music and labels of music which are produced by some kind of high-end labels. But
Yeah. Lately, I haven't been come across like Indian Ocean was also one of those
yeah,
very known bands of like 90s era. But yeah, all these got so much attention when they were there on the like verge of their career, and then these got like dissipated within few years, and it is a bit disheartening because we our childhood was across all around these songs like Mairi, and then क्या करेगी तू घर से निकल के, that song, and then even Sajni, have you heard the song?
yes.
The video was so captivating at that time. I couldn't understand why why was the need of uh,
Priya,
unrealistic.
Indian bands we are talking about. How can we not talk about Kailasa before it became
Oh
like a
yes,
Bollywood thing? Before they
thing.
got it picked in the Bollywood, they made such wonderful
Such
songs like
amazing.
Teri Diwani,
Tauba Tauba,
Saiya,
Teri Diwani. Yes, so many.
so
Tauba
many.
Tauba was. I really liked the beats because it had the backdrop is still used in some movies. You know that
Oh, is
that
it?
ting 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 ting. You might have heard in Sapne Bana Di Jodi or somewhere it was used. This particular beat was used in a
Um,
backdrop.
not sure. Not sure.
Okay,
Maybe.
I'll send you the scene via YouTube, of course.
All right.
So I really like these backstories and how they are still going on with it. Some are successful, still, catching attention, and some are now we don't know where they are. The Aryans was also one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. And these successful stories of people, originating from nowhere and making it big on their own. It won't be, justice if we do not talk about the players of Commonwealth Games who did. such an amazing
Course.
performance this season. And not just that, some people, I mean, nothing taking back from any athlete, whatever they have achieved is a pride for this nation. But
Of
few
course.
things, few things that I would, that makes me, just think through, just sit and be numb for some time is about the people who literally had no means. Still, their parents are just living in a small cottage in some village, and that guy is winning a silver medal or a gold medal at the international stage, competing against the best athletes in the world. So, with this
Be it in
Commonwealth,
wrestling, be it in
yeah,
anything.
the
Yes.
stories. Oh my God, this lady Mirabai Chanu, she won an Olympic as
Correct.
well. She used to take a lift from truck drivers to reach the training ground of wherever.
Train.
And when she won the gold medal, I don't remember her Olympic medal. It was silver or gold. I'm not sure. I think it
It
was
was gold, na?
no, no, no.
Gold.
Gold.
Okay,
Gold was
we'll
only
not.
for.
Okay.
We'll do the research right now.
Yes, we'll do the research. We don't want to be unethical about this. Sorry, guys.
Yes, Mirabai Chanu. So anyway, so we were talking about the story. So she like actually took lift from the truck drivers and went to the training ground and whatever. And the day she won the medal, she won a silver medal in the Tokyo Olympics. I just did the Google.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
she came back to her village. She invited all the truck drivers around that area for dinner or for lunch. That is what makes this country so unique. I know people do not lose their mind even after being so much successful. They still
Right.
be around. They think through. They know where they have originated from, what they had earlier, and how much it means to get this medal. So always, we talk about there should be a motive. It's not just that one day I get up in the morning and I say that okay, I want to win a gold medal. No, there
It's a
has
journey.
there has to be a journey. Exactly.
Journey.
You have to you start from nowhere to winning at a place where what more than 100 countries compete,
Correct.
and there you become the best in that particular, like you are reaching the podium. So it means you had a journey. It's just not someday you on a dining table you thought, okay, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna win a medal. No, it never happens like that. That's some fairy tale which people might talk about, but like 99.99% of the times you have to like get off your comfort zone, do things, and hence these stories. Some people like there's this guy from Maharashtra, I'm forgetting his name, in steeplechase he got silver this Commonwealth Games. So since 97 or 98, I think the top three positions were only held by Kenyans. And this
Mhm.
guy was like, I would say not even a second behind the gold medal. He was this close at the
I
finishing
think it
line.
was 0.01 second.
Yeah, less than a
Yes,
second.
very
Less
close.
than a second
Yes, less than a second.
was the difference between the first and second. So such
Yeah.
stories, such stories just fascinates me like anything. Makes me so proud, so proud. Um, but yeah, me and you, we are doing our bit for the country by creating these kinds of
Yeah, we are
podcasts.
giving something away at least. In our vision, we are. I don't know about what others think. We'll get
At
to know if
least,
they are sharing some questions, guys. We'll get to know about your
come
thoughts
on,
also.
Priya, there are 7 people listening to us. Do you think they're gonna share questions?
Of course, why not? Also, now that you have said it, how like these ground players are coming up and doing such a thing with fearlessly doing such a thing.
Yeah.
Day before yesterday, Prakhar, my younger brother, he asked me, "What do you think? What is the similarity between a rich man, a poor man, and a like middle class uh, man?" So I said there is a difference between rich and the poorest. I can tell you one, which is that these guys are not afraid of taking risks, especially the poor one. I said
Exactly.
especially the poor one because he has nothing to lose and, like, of course, everything to gain, but it's about their livelihood or just nothing. They'll either die this day or they'll not. There is no in between. There is no
Exactly.
in between. They have no choice. So, of course, this there is something to look up to. The rich man has a backup. Poor doesn't. That's why they do not fear while talking in front of. You must have seen all those videos from the reality shows where how, you know, without any flinch they talk. They are
Yeah.
straightforward, they are clean while answering. They know their lingual might not be that respectful or the way city people talk, but they do not fear at all. So I
And I
love
think,
that fact about
yeah,
them.
and I also think that, in a lot of ways, not everybody's mature enough to respect them. They put them down, saying that, okay, they don't belong to where we come from or our surrounding or our space, and they're not very accommodating about those things. But if you just sit and talk to such kind of people for once, you'll
We'll
know
feel
that,
very small, very
yes,
small.
you'll know how big they are, how uh, calmly they sleep at night, and how what happiness means to them. Like very little things is happiness.
Yeah.
And unlike us, like even if after achieving shitload of things and we still disrespect what we
Somewhere
have.
unsatisfied. Yes.
Yes, that's so always sit with such kind of people, have a discussion, know about their families, what makes them happy. I remember. So there was this trek where I went to in Maharashtra itself. And like every other mountain, every other hill in Maharashtra, what happened? Sorry, not mountain, they're hills mostly. So
Hmm.
we went to the top, and at the top, we had somebody selling Maggie and some snacks, some tea, and everything. Where we we were tired as hell while reaching there, like through the sun and everything, and climbing the hills, mountains, and going through the narrow paths and all of those things. You know how hiking is. So basically, when we were like at the summit, we saw all of these people selling, all of these vendors selling these snacks kind of things. So I was just waiting for this vendor who was making pakoras actually. So he was actually frying it right there. So I was sitting with around him and I was talking like, how do you bring all of these stuff up here? Where do you live? And he says that he just points out at a village which was somewhere down there. And he said, I live there. And I was like, how do you come? At what time do you come? He said, everybody starts submitting from 7 a.m. onwards. So we come at 5:36 to this place so that we start preparing. So I said, okay, 5:30 you come here. And how do you come? So we just trek, we just hike. I said, what if your like whatever grocery you have brought here, whatever supplies you have got, something gets over. So yeah, I go down, bring it back again. They do it multiple times a day, Priya, and we consider it as an accomplishment. Okay, this is something I've done. I've hiked a particular hill. Those guys are doing it every day, and it's a cakewalk. And while I was talking to her, one of the ladies who was also selling something there, maybe tea or some kind of fruit. I don't remember exactly. She was done, like whatever she was there to sell, she sold everything and she was just going down. She just put her whatever that pot is on her head. She started walking down like she was walking on a flat land. We took all the gears, all the, you
Hmm.
know,
Every
um,
kind of protection we had, and
trekking gear,
yes,
shoes,
correct.
and those things to go up there. And for these people, it was just that. And then I realized, okay, this makes so much sense because, see, this is what happens. You don't sit and talk to people, you won't know. what is a difficulty for you might be a cakewalk for somebody else. What's a cakewalk for you might be
Might be a
a fight for
difficulty and
something
it's a
else. Yeah,
fight for something else. Correct.
yeah. So
It's all in mind. It's just mind business. She
yeah,
had this willpower that okay, comes down to where the mind is without fear. Oh my god. Didn't know this is gonna happen
Priya,
from where we started.
have you started to realize that we are sounding more mature with our podcast? This is getting serious. We started
Yeah.
off as a comedy podcast. What is this?
I'm actually liking it both ways. Even that was a part of us, and this is also a part of us. And in future, we'll see how people are reacting to this. If they'll be sending us some like suggestions, if we can improve in some way, so it'll be good for
I think
us.
they have already given up. They said that you guys just cannot improve it. There's no going back from here. What you have done is you have already ruined everything, what you've created. So better just keep doing what you do. We don't give a damn.
Yeah, guys,
No.
keep tuning to self-deprecating jokes by Kumar Gaurav. Okay.
And with that, in my heavy voice, I would like to say have a good night, good afternoon, and good day, everybody, whoever is listening at whatever time. And ensure that
Yes.
you follow us. And yeah, we'll be back again next week. Priya, say
Bye,
bye.
guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Hey there, thanks for listening to the podcast. Just in case you liked the episode, do leave us a rating and follow us on whatever podcasting platform you're listening to. It will be of great help if you share the podcast with your friends and tell them what podcast you're consuming. And you can also send us your questions, suggestions, feedbacks, and AMAs at pleasesaythatagainmate@gmail.com, or you can DM us on our Instagram. Our handles are there in the description of the show. And with that, I'll take your leave and see you again next week.